Welcome to the DJ Insider Podcast, sponsored by Amplified Events.
It's the only podcast where we break down insider information from our weddings, experiences, and advice from over 15 years in the wedding industry.
We're your hosts. I'm Mike Kane, owner of Amplified Events.
And I'm Chris Zart, general manager of Amplified Events.
Let's get into it.
We're back.
We're back after taking a couple week hiatus for vacays and sick kids.
Yep.
We're back in the studio, ready to crank out another. So we did two weddings together this weekend. One at Lure on the Lake with like all of our friends.
Yes.
And then one at the Design Bar.
Yeah, and no weddings on Saturday, which is super weird.
That was weird. And it was 11/11.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that is strange. That's like a big date and everything, and yeah, really weird.
Numerology is important. A lot of people get attached to dates.
And for us, Saturdays are not available for the majority of the year, but yeah, that was cool to have off.
That was nice.
But
things that stood out from those weddings that you remember?
I mean,
Good,
Friday
bad?
was just a insane party. It was just a rager. Like, it was just fun to watch everyone have a great time the entire night. I was just assisting with you on that one, so I was more so spectating, but it was just like, yeah, super gorgeous. Probably the biggest wedding that I've seen at the Allure so far. But yeah, it was just a great party.
It must have been close to 300 people.
Had to have been.
It was
that's what
stacked.
it felt like.
Yeah.
And then Sunday was my first time at the Design Barn, and that was gorgeous. One, I love being close to home, 20 minutes away or whatever, and yeah, I can't wait to be back there. The staff was amazing. That was like something that really stood out to me. I'm like, I can't remember her name at the top of my head, but the coordinator we worked with was just fantastic. She was just so on top of it. Made me feel like I did a lot of parts of the job that I normally have to do. She kind of took care of already, took off a lot of stress on my end, which was huge for us. So that was pretty great. But yeah, what about you?
I mean, both weddings were pretty great. But yeah, Friday was insane. It was our good friends getting married, and we've worked with them in the past, and we got to work with some of our favorite vendors. Sonia, and then McKenna was assisting her, and yeah, Carlos Media was there, so it was cool. We'd done a lot of weddings with the Allure on the Lake, so it was phenomenal having their staff as well.
Just overall dream team, I think.
It really was. And I knew a lot of the guests at the wedding. I wasn't planning on it, but it ended up I knew a lot of them, which was really cool. And everything was just really smooth, really easy, full floor. I even mixed into the last song, which to me, like, it's just, it's going well when it's just, you don't even want to slow it down or stop anything.
Right.
It just goes right into the last song, which I did that Disco Lines Love Story from Taylor Swift again. Because it felt wrong to, like, have a rager floor all night and then, all right, guys, everybody chill, and then last song,
Right.
It felt like,
gotta
let
keep
me
the
just
energy
mix it
going,
into it,
yeah.
and then it's like, she's doing that little, love story acoustic little dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun, that walk she does on the guitar. And so, yeah, it's just, the beat just kept going, and I was like, all right, this is the last song, and they all came out.
Keep that energy high.
Yeah,
You can,
there were so many spilled drinks. Like, it was just...
Oh, it was insane.
It was absolutely epic.
Yeah.
Really cool energy, and it felt good to, like, honor that, to, like, really take good care of our friends. That Tyler works in the wedding industry, and he's worked with them for years. He actually did our first company holiday party.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and that's what one of my first memories of him was him, like, helping us out. And I was just like, this guy's cool. So it was really cool, yeah, to be a part of his wedding and celebrate and do it right. So, but yeah, it got me thinking. We've been kind of killing it lately. Like, just the best of the best. It's that time of year, just crushing weddings.
We talked about a lot of the nerves that we have kind of at the beginning of the year, like, fade off a little bit, and we're just, when you're going to every weekend, you're just kind of dialed in, and you can just kind of channel that with every wedding you do. And, like, it's great when that confidence just kind of builds more and more going into, like, the end of the year.
But, like, so last time I think we met, we did Halloween kind of spooky stories from, like, crazy. But I think it'd be fun to kind of go back and touch on, like, we talk a lot about the best weddings and those things, but what are some of the worst weddings memories that you've had, worst weddings you've done, and what about it was so bad And then what did you learn from it as a result that makes you better now and makes you want to avoid that in the future? I have a few, and there's a couple I didn't talk about last time.
Right. Yeah, that's a good question. I think I've really learned in this job to just trust my gut more than anything. Especially the amount of time I've been doing this. I usually know what's going to be best for the dance floor, for the party, for the day of. And people at weddings can really make you forget that sometimes. And there's a number of ways they can do that. And this one circumstance, this is like probably the first year that I started doing weddings on my own. And I was just getting started, and I was a little younger. Like, my confidence was not as nearly as high as it is now. And we're having a really good dance floor. I'm following the vibe of what the bride and groom want, what the guests out there are wanting. Everything's going really smooth. And then this lady comes up to me, and she's, probably like late 20s or whatever. And she's like, the older crowd needs to get out there. And mind you, we gave probably the first hour of the dance floor. We played a lot of oldies and stuff. And then we increased the energy, moved into more of like the list. The bride and groom gave us a lot of current hits, things like that. And great, more people got on the dance floor. It was just, can't do any wrong. It was just going great. And then she's like, older music. We got to get the older crowd back out there. I'm like, I'm just kind of transitioning into this new vibe now. And then she just wasn't getting it, kept coming up. And then finally she got her uncle, which this was the moment that I've been standing the whole time. And I just wanted to sit down, or threw a slow song on, just wanted to rest my legs. I sat down. He came up behind me and put his hands on me, on my shoulders. Oof. And he got right in my ear, and he's like, the couple is paying you a lot of money to do this wedding. You need to do the right thing here and listen to what the people around here are telling you to do.
Yikes.
And I immediately was like, do not touch me. Not okay whatsoever. And then from there, I believe, from what I remember, I went and, because they still weren't leaving me alone, I talked to the bride and groom and said, hey, listen, this uncle, this person, this is how they're treating me, this is how they're talking to me. I'm so sorry that I have to tell you this in the middle of the wedding right now, but this is what's happening. I just kind of wanted to get your 2 cents on it. I'm sticking, and they're like, you are doing great. Do not change anything you're doing. And then they left early, that uncle and this cousin. I have no idea.
Once they realized their threats didn't work.
Yeah, but it was just being, physically threatened like that. But I think I did. I played an older song because I just wanted them to back off or whatever. Yep. But really,
here you go.
Now I would have, I would have just trusted my gut more. I would have just stuck to what was working well. And after that, it was a great wedding. We it ended fantastic. But that was just so surprising that something like that could happen. And it's so I've had nothing really like that happen. There was one other time that I had. I think I brought it up many times in the podcast before, of my equipment getting pushed around and stuff by this guy. But I've really not had much like that. But it's really just told, that experience has told me, trust your gut, stick to what you think is going to be the best plan. And that's all I can really do. And then I don't know. I still don't know. Should I talk to the bride and groom about that? Should I tell them later? Maybe that's something I should have waited. But I don't know. It just was a weird situation.
The longer I've been doing it, the more I try to have those conversations with the bride and groom before the wedding about what do I do if a guest gets in my face. How do you feel about older music or younger music, or what do you really want? Do you trust me to give you that? And is there, when I'm left with that decision, what should I do, kind of thing.
Right.
And the longer I've done this, the more confident I am at feeling the crowd out, doing and then also setting that boundary with guests coming up. And we had somebody Friday come up, and they wanted a couple older songs, so I worked those in. But we just kept raging, kept going. And then somebody came up. It was a few songs left in the night, and we were playing Sandstorm, and it was going crazy, and people were dancing, going nuts. And this older woman comes up, and she's like, they're not dancing. You need some help. You need help. And I go, what are you talking about? And I made her look, because the floor was completely packed. Everybody was dancing. And I was like, what are you talking about? I literally just put it right back on her, because she was accused me basically of not knowing how to do my job and doing a bad job. Mm-hmm. And that nobody was dancing is what she was basically saying. She's like, well, nobody's dancing. And I was like, what are you talking about? And I showed her that everybody was. She's like, this is like seizure music. People are having seizures to this. And I go, well, that's your personal taste, but it seems like the crowd is in favor of what I'm doing. They seem to be enjoying it, And then she just left, walked away. So, But yeah, I think more of that is pushback, and you know, that to me is usually one of the biggest things. Of course, we all have those like nightmare scenarios where the power goes out, or there's like, I've done a few in Chicago, and there's certain areas where we just can't get good signal on our wireless microphones. People are just interrupting on our signal, and the mic is getting dropouts.
Yes.
You know, that'll happen. And you work your best you can with that, and you have backups and stuff. And then ideally, you prepare your couple beforehand. But to me, the worst are when I've overextended myself. I've essentially promised something that I didn't really want to promise, I didn't really want to do, but I felt like I had to because it's what the people wanted. And more experienced me now would be like, no, that's not really what I do.
Yeah.
And the biggest factor with that are like the last minute asks, the last minute changes, and, oh, we're going to have a live performer. Okay, so this is a wedding I did a few years ago. I was like, okay, great. Who's coming? You know, it was like, oh, we have a keyboard player and a singer. I was like, awesome, we can do that. I can plug in the keyboard, just tell them to bring their XLR cable or their 1/4 inch, and I'll have a microphone. No problem, right? No, they brought a full band, and it was at a new venue I hadn't been to, and the band already set up before I got there, and they were set up back in the back corner. And the band, they had a drummer, they had a keyboard player, they had an accordion player, they had a cello player, they had a bass player. So full band. Then they all wanted monitors, which I don't have. So I gave up one of my speakers as a monitor. Then we had ceremony, which was 200 yards away, out, just really far out. And at the last minute, the son of the bride wanted to like play guitar. So that day I was getting new strings for my guitar, and I brought like a guitar stand and cables and everything to like help out, like, oh yeah, I should have told him get your own guitar. I should have told him that's not something we do. Sorry.
Right.
But no, I wanted to be super helpful. So I brought the guitar. It took extra work to do that. Then we had to bring a speaker out there, and I was just running like 300 foot of cable. So I was getting dropouts because it's way too much cable, way too far away to be running speakers. Of course, the band sounded terrible because I didn't have enough inputs. I didn't have enough training on like at that time to like what to do, And, luckily we saved it with a great dance floor later in the night. But that was one I went up and apologized because I was just like, we felt we came up short here based on what I wanted to do. But I didn't say this at the time, but I felt overextended. I felt like they had way too many asks. They had way too many surprises. And I should have just said, nope, if you have a band, have them bring their own PA, have them do their own stuff, and have them EQ themselves. I'm not a professional sound engineer. This band clearly knows what they're doing.
Right.
Have them bring their own stuff. So those kind of things I would have pushed back on. And, it took that going through that. It's not, oh, we need more reverb on the mic, and we need more. There's all these like little extra things that like a give a mouse a cookie little asks that, are not a big deal, so it's easy to say yes to, but then when it adds up and you're like, oh, if this sounds badly or it goes badly, and of course it is, because I'm not prepared to, basically be a sound engineer for a full band right now.
Right.
So it's going to sound what it sounds like. But when it sounds bad, they blame you. They blame the DJ. When the equipment's not working, they blame the DJ. When there's a technical error, there's
even when it's nothing to do
frequency.
with you.
Trust me, if I could make it sound good, I would make it sound good. I'm always trying to make it sound the best way possible. Sometimes they set us up really far from where the dance floor is going to be. Or they're dancing somewhere where the dance floor is not, something like that, and they need me to crank my speakers.
Yeah.
And I do that so that it's loud enough then where they're going to be. But then I have guests coming up. It is too loud. Can you turn it down? Because they put the most sensitive eared people always seem to be sitting right next to the speakers.
Yeah.
You should always put young people next to the speakers if you have a choice in that.
If you can avoid it, don't even have any tables near speakers.
That's ideal, but sometimes certain venues you just can't do that.
Right.
And I've had people come up and touch my speakers or move them or turn them off. That's happened a couple times where some guy didn't like the speaker and he just turned it off. I was like, you're just not allowed to do that, guy. He's like, well, I don't want this in my ear. I was like, well, I'm very sorry. Maybe you can trade seats with somebody, but people need to hear the speeches. I need to do introductions. I have announcements, and we have music. So I'm sorry that your table is right here, that you don't like the music or how loud it is. That wasn't up to me, but I'm here to do a job. Any other horror stories or crazy, terrible weddings you've done that?
Yeah, I'm trying to think. I mean, there's been plenty of times, and I can't even really think of one just because it's happened so many times. But like you were saying, as last minute asks, I've just had like I go in, I have all the information that was given to me ahead of time, completely clear. That's the plan, and then I get there and everything is different. Oh, actually, we want to change our first dance song now, or actually. We do not have this person in our bridal party. We have to completely change the order of names, or whatever. That's just happened countless times.
Yep.
And we've talked about before why you hire a professional and not just anybody. And that's like, it sucks to do that kind of stuff, but we have the ability to be flexible and respond to that, and then kind of work from there. Like, sure, like that. It's terrible that I had this plan and now it's completely changing, but we can respond to it and go from there. But no, there's not a specific one I can really think of. I just know that's happened a lot.
The really tough ones sometimes are when like the couple has very specific taste and they are not backing down. They want to hear their songs. And then you play their songs and their crowd does not like that taste in music at all. And the crowd's not shy about it. And I've told you that story one time about that older guy that came up. I was playing Drunken Love by Beyonce. The bride literally just came up and requested it. It was also on their list, but she's like, I want to hear it next. So we were playing it. And he's like, you got to turn this off. This is terrible. And I was like, well, the bride picked it. And he's like, well, the bride is wrong.
Oh, didn't even back down.
Yeah, no. Yeah. And he was like, you're ruining this wedding. And I was just like, I am playing what the couple who paid me said they want. And look, she's out there dancing with her friends. Then that guy apparently went and yelled at the groom. The groom came up and was like, just play some older stuff. I was like, okay.
Just trying to do my job, Now that you actually bring that up, I did have a wedding like 3 or 4 years ago that, the bride had just come up to me. And it was kind of like we started strong, and then they were like, we pretty much only want country, and nobody there liked country, like at all.
Nobody's dancing to it.
Nope.
Yeah, we give it a shot.
That's what they wanted, and I was changing it up. And as soon as I started changing it up, the bride came up to me and was like, "Hey, if you can go back to the country stuff, can you play this song specifically?" I'm like, "Not a problem." And at that point, I was just like, "You know what?
Sure.
This is the fine. You gave me this list. I will just stick to that." I don't think they really cared that there wasn't a dance floor or whatever. So I literally hit play. 10 seconds go by. The maid of honor comes up. And the whole night she had kind of been on me a bit, like for no reason.
Yeah.
And then, and I was playing a lot of her requests too. Like I was on her team. I wanted her to be on mine as well. But she's like, this song is absolutely terrible. Change it right now. Like that was her tune. And I was like, the bride had just told me to play this song. And compared to what you just said, it was a flip. She backed out. She was like, oh, I'm sorry. And then I didn't even see her the rest of the night. She left me alone. That was it. Because I was,
she came at you hard, thinking it was you chose the song.
I think she finally realized that all of the non-existent dance floor that was happening, that wasn't me.
Yeah,
it was the music that they had given me, and they told me to stick to. Which also, to prevent that, I do with all my couples. I let them know, like, if I see a list of music and I can tell this is not a typical what would work for a good dance floor.
Yes,
I let them know, like, hey, I see this music you've given me. I do not know if this is music that all of your guests enjoy, but like, how do you feel if I am playing this, but it results in no dance floor? Are you okay with me throwing in music that I think would be okay for a dance floor? I at least kind of throw that out there. And honestly, most of the time that, I've had a lot of couples that are like, nope, I just want to hear what I want to hear. That's fine. Not all weddings do have to have a dance floor. That is sure. Like, there are plenty of weddings where they just want to dance occasionally to a song or two. It does hurt on our end because it feels like we're messing up constantly. But sometimes people just want to like dance a little bit, go and hang out and talk. And that's just how it goes.
Yeah.
But
we also, because we do this every weekend, we can see what it could be.
Yes.
And there's a lot of elements that go together to make a great dance party, which some of those elements are immediately out of your control at a basic venue, or you're in somebody's backyard, or the weather is terrible, or, it's just the energy is just not there.
Yeah.
The people don't. We did a Sunday wedding recently, and Sundays are hard because everybody has in their mind they're going to go to work.
Mm-hmm.
They're not going to dance. We get a little bit of a dance floor, but you're not going to get a 3-hour, 4-hour dance set. You're going to get an hour, hour and a half.
Mm-hmm.
And then people are tired and they're going home. And then you're left for the last hour, hour and a half of like 20 people. And they're done dancing. They just want to talk.
Yeah. Bar's still open. They can just sit down. Like, yeah. That's just how it goes.
That's just how it goes. But it never amazes me. It never ceases to amaze me that like how many times people like this guy clearly doesn't know. They assume that the music we're playing and that we're just they're so assured that they could do better than us, and that they think we are playing this song and that we have no clue like how to get people dancing. I'm like, and there couldn't be further from the truth. We do this for a living. I know the songs that get people dancing. Sometimes those songs are on the don't playlist. Mm-hmm. Sometimes there's factors beyond our control, and there's factors that this person doesn't know about. But I love that they always think that it's our personal taste. Mm-hmm. I was like, I wouldn't listen to most of this at home, you know. And, you think I'm just listening to this on the drive home?
Most people that come up and they're like, oh, you should be doing this, right? We're looking out for usually everybody. But like most of the time, if they come up with a song and they're like, do you know what's going to get everybody going? It's really just like them and maybe a friend or two that's around them. That's who they're prioritizing. And that's like, I'm trying to make everyone happy, not just you and 2 other people happy or whatever. You know what I mean? Yeah, it's tricky.
It's so great too, because then they don't even look at the floor. They're not seeing the big picture. Mm-hmm. They just know that they're not hearing their song and they're not dancing, which is what that woman did on Friday. It's just like,
well, there's plenty of times where, you know, like guests request a song and then we play it and then they're sitting and they're on their phone and they're not even
listening.
And I remember
I played it. They come up and request it again. I played it. Oh, I missed it. Play it again. No.
Like two months ago, we were doing a wedding and we were talking about that and you wanted to do experiment, but you had messed up the the initial by saying to the guy, which got him out there. But he gave us a song and you were like, oh, okay, am I going to see you out there to that song though?
Yeah, yeah.
And he was like, yeah. And then realized, oh man, like, because he was trying to play DJ, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Oh, I'm gonna give him the music.
So if I play this, you're gonna definitely go dance, right?
And he was out there.
Yeah.
After that, any songs we didn't say that again, then he was, gone. He was a nice guy. I had nothing against him, but it was just like it was funny of like kind of called him out, and he's like, yeah, of course, yeah, I could do that, not a problem.
I love doing that, especially when people really push you hard for it. There's no trust, and they don't know me, mm-hmm. and they've been ignored before by other DJs, and usually there's a reason. It's not, I don't just like ignoring people. I don't just like, writing down their request. We'll get to it, I have a plan, mm-hmm. typically, and also that plan is adjusting how the crowd is adjusting.
Yeah.
And I have information from the couple of their taste, their desires, their wishes, and I'm saving some of those great songs that you want. And the couple wants, I'm saving it because the couple's out talking or hanging out. Like, I'm waiting for that precise moment.
Yes. Well, I just had, this was a few weeks ago, and I was at Dunes Pavilion, and this one guy, and he was awesome. He came up and he's like, can you play Every Time We Touch by Cascada? And I was like, and it was one of their must plays. And I'm like, absolutely. But it was not the time of the night to play it yet. And I knew that we could get there. And I mean, it was just a killer dance floor, just rager. Like, no, I could not play a bad song, but I needed it to be at the right time.
Yes.
That I played it. And he came up, 30 minutes go by, he came up again. He's like, you really are going to play that. I'm like, listen, I'm going to tell you right now, I don't do this. I promise you I'm going to play this song because I know I'm going to play it and I know it's going to hit well. I just need to find the right time to do it. He's like, I understand. And then like an hour goes by and I'm like about to do it. And he comes up again. He's like, listen, I'm not trying to like pester you. I am old. I need to go home. Like my wife took the kids. I came to this wedding alone. I'm exhausted. Please. He's like, please, I'm begging you. I'm like, I have it on my board. Like I'm ready to mix it. I'm like, I am going to drop it. Like, and then I did Sandstorm initially, and they loved it. And then I blended it into, and then I swear this guy just was losing his mind. Like he went so, and then he went home after that. He came up. He's like, thank you. Good
things come to those who wait.
So it's out of all the weird like guest horror stories we've told, it's like that one. That was like I made that guy's night.
Yes,
but I was like. And I was like, was it worth it? He's like, yeah. I'm like, okay. It's worth the wait. I don't want to just like drop it just because we have a plan in mind. We have like, it's not like, oh, what song do you have up next? Oh, I'm kind of thinking of the next 10 songs I want to do or the genre I can swap into, whatever. We're constantly, and that plan can change sometimes. And we've talked about what a wedding could have been. I've had plenty of times where like, going great. Bride and groom come up and they're like, can you play this song? And it's such a shift, a complete change.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, yeah, like of course, like I'll play it, but And then that keeps happening, and then like energy's back and forth. And I'm like, we could have been going all night, but now it's like, oh, I played this country song and we're in the middle of doing like hip hop, and everyone's like, I'm gonna grab a drink. You know what I mean? But
That's important too. Drinks are important. But yeah, everyone has the right to have a bad wedding if they want.
Right.
And if they want to interrupt their wedding with, with a slow song, or they want to interrupt the energy, that's their choice.
That's fine. We're happy to do it. It's just we know what it could be. You know?
Yes. And I try my best to not, be so arrogant that I know better. Like I do know better, but they know best about what they want. It's their wedding, and they are the customer. And so I want to please them. I want to make them happy. And I try to educate, but if they're still like, yeah, just play some Wonderful Tonight, Eric Clapton. Okay.
I think the best it can be is when it's a collaboration. When like we really can, couple and DJ can work together of like, give us the songs you really, really, really love. Like we definitely want to play. And then like a few other songs, let's take it from there.
Yeah.
And we can kind of fill in the gaps, do what we think makes sense with your dance floor, with your guests, with you. But yeah, if we can collaborate and kind of meet in the middle, that's when you're going to have a good wedding.
Yeah. 100%. And I want it to be the best wedding possible. And I've learned that you don't interrupt energy. You just let it flow. And, we always talk about like the speed of a song, the key of the song, the genre of the song. But more than that, certain songs like elicit feelings, certain feelings. And if you get good at this and you do it over enough time, you start to feel the crowd's energy. And you start to give them songs that match those feelings. And that will then keep going.
Right.
And ideally, you want it to build, build, build. And if you have to plateau to take a break, you can. But then build, build, build. But you don't want to be like, let's just kill everything. And I thought of a fun game. And I don't know if it could be considered a game.
Okay.
But I have some songs I've prepared.
Sure.
And I was going to play them. And then we could just talk about the feelings these songs elicit. So maybe guests at home listening could like connect with, maybe understand what this is going on. Let me grab my computer.
Yeah, well, Mike's stepping away. I could say like, yeah, the feeling, and then I think that like, you smell something that can elicit a memory. I think songs, music, that really elicit memories, especially now for me, I just turned 26 this year. I have a lot of people that I went to high school with that are getting married. I keep seeing them at weddings all the time. And it's like the songs that we listened to when we were like 13 to 16, like when those get played, it's like, oh, it's like the nostalgia kicks in, you know what I mean? And that can be a huge rush.
So I'll play a song, and you just tell me the feelings that you feel. We can talk a little bit about the feelings. Here's the first one.
I'll try my best. Oh, disgusted. Yeah. You're only playing that because of dubstep guy. Yeah.
That's right. Some guy heckled me on Sunday yelling for dubstep when there's 20 people there. And he kept yelling out what he thought.
Skrillex?
That's Skrillex, yeah. But he kept yelling out that he wanted dubstep. And dubstep is discordant noise.
How do you dance to that? Yeah.
You don't. You just bang your head and move.
It's fine. If you want to go to a rave in a club, that's fine. But we're not club DJs.
Some people want discordant noise. Typically at weddings, you don't, unless you're building to that. And there's just that release of energy by, jumping, moshing, pushing, whatever.
Disgust, then. All right. Yeah, I would say just warmth. It's just a feel good. This is probably one of my most like number one songs that I play like right at the beginning. This is probably within my first 5 that I play at most weddings. It's just such a warm song. Just makes you feel happy. People of all ages feel good to that song and sing every single word. Like
you can tell the people who wrote it and as they're performing it have deep feelings. It's soulful. That's where the term soul comes from. It's just a deep, you can connect immediately with the emotions of that song and the people are singing it. And it's just like nothing is going to stop us from being in love.
Right. Well, when I listen to them, I'm like, oh, damn, they're in love. Yeah.
Right?
Ain't no sunshine when she's gone.
Yeah. The song makes me feel a little melancholy, honestly.
Immediately. Sad, but like introspectively sad.
Right.
A little depressed, but like, like let me kind of sort through some of this. And so there's a time, believe it or not, where this song would be good.
Yeah.
Cocktail hour, dinner, especially if you're kind of going for like a good mixture of feelings.
I don't know if I could do this on a dance floor, honestly.
I would
love the
not do
song.
this as
is Bill Withers, right?
Yes, yeah, I wouldn't do it as on during the dancing portion of the night. But
Yeah.
I think dinner or cocktail hour, that could be really good if you're wanting people to be a little bit more introspective and to have a range of emotion. Because immediately, like you said, melancholy, that's, oh, this is sweet. This is beautiful. I'm thinking somebody's looking out a window as it's raining, thinking hard about.
You get to dance floor, and that's just going to be like, Actually don't recognize the song yet. Gotta give it a moment. Kind of a similar, this is more of like an 80s melancholy though,
Yes.
It's like, now I'm crying in front of the window, but there's like a neon sign also hitting my face. Yeah, I would say it's probably the same feeling. Yeah.
So like the first one, it ain't no sunshine when she's gone, like is like eliciting those feelings that like this woman, this person in my life that I love brings love into my life. When they're gone, it's hard for me to feel happiness.
Right.
Whereas like the Foreigner song, Waiting for a Girl Like You, is just like, I've been waiting. It's just building. I can't wait for you to come,
I've been waiting.
Yes.
Yeah.
But it reminds me of like, your Stranger Things, just like the melancholy of childhood, but also like longing for love. But again, if you're going for that kind of feeling with deep meaning or just kind of a cool vibe, it's a great song for like a cocktail or even like a ceremony if you're into that type of vibe. I mean, tell me, you have so many memories with this song.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So many positive feelings.
Yeah, I mean, it's just one, that's just a classic wedding song for sure. But it's like, I'm just picturing people shouting on a dance floor right now, just because that's like my memory,
And it's about like his buddy's
celebration.
daughter.
That's kind
like
of
the song content is literally about his buddy's daughter. It's not a good.
Oh, interesting.
When you break down the lyrics, apparently the story there is not a great story.
See, that's the thing. There's so many songs where it's like the words don't even really matter. Is like that's just.
It's permeated culture to this point where I have different feelings than what the artist intended, perhaps. Yeah, everybody. I don't know anybody who hasn't heard this at a wedding and is singing at the top of their lungs, and it puts them in immediately a good mood.
Yeah.
So yeah, when are you gonna play that song?
Oh, that's like end of the night. We've danced real hard. And I mean, listen, there are some weddings that, like Friday, that wedding was going bam, bam, bam to the very end.
Yes.
But some people, a lot of people do get pretty tired. It's a long day. Even for guests, it's a long day. Yeah. Towards the end of the night, it can be really great to do songs like that because you can still be out there. You feel good. The energy's still high, but you don't really have to do a lot of movement. You can kind of just like get in a circle. Let's get the bride and groom in the middle.
A lot of weddings, we've danced now. Now we want to sing.
Right.
We want to make memories. We want to embrace in a big circle. This is a great song to do that to.
I kind of have a similar feeling to Sweet Caroline, but this one's more of a build.
Yeah.
It
slow burn, builds it.
But the right crowd, I mean, they're singing every word, and it's very, very similar. This is just a fantastic build of energy, and that song makes me feel so good, and makes me think of Almost Famous.
Well, yeah, like the Tiny Dancer, all that kind of stuff. And what's so funny to me is like, they steal the hook, this song.
See, that's why I like, there's mixed feelings with certain people, but I feel like a lot of people really like these remixes because you kind of get a similar vibe, but like you can move to this, you know what I mean?
Yes.
You can play this, earlier in the night. This is very danceable.
Yeah, and especially if they're loving kind of club hits, but then you can have some of those throwback samples that hit well. But there's a certain emotion that goes with that, and that's what when Dua Lipa and the producers put that together. They're connecting with that. They're borrowing from Rocket Man to like induce that type of energy into a dance set.
I don't know this song.
I mean,
Actually, sorry. This
there's
is the
the
first one that
internet,
stumps me.
TikTok, it's Celine Dion, and it's all coming back. But there's these two guys who are joke magicians,
Yeah.
where they hold up like a golden, sheet, and then they drop it, right at the drop of her singing, and they disappear. And it's kind of funny, but they're talking about just the epic nature. But the idea is they're not really that good of magicians. They disappear, and the guy's like hiding behind a little tree. You can clearly see him, And I think it spawned from that TikTok internet phenomenon where people would hold a sheet up and then disappear from in front of their dogs, and their dog's like, where did they go? But it's like kind of obvious to a human, So they do that, but they do it really epic because they're acting as though they're like Las Vegas magicians on the street.
Right.
Anyway, I see it shows up on my TikTok feed all the time, and that song elicits that emotion. I've done it at weddings a few times, and people are just like, "It's the most epic thing ever." I mean, this is the singer from the movie Titanic. Just the largest, most feelings you can feel belted out into a song. It's an epic feeling when you're singing this song.
Ooh. I mean, I've been really listening to the lyrics of the song lately, and it's just this one's also a little bit of a bummer. It's like about being like, not like cheated on, but like just like, oh yeah, I'm trying to fall in love, but every guy just wants to mess around.
I mean, Rumors is a crazy album because they were all cheating on each other, sleeping together at that time. So that comes through in the lyrics.
But
like this song got a shot of energy and popularity when that guy did that video of him longboarding and drinking ocean spray to this song, and it went viral, and it reinvigorated the song. And so now everyone's like, "Oh yeah, that's such a good song."
I've been seeing that song pop up in cocktail dinner playlists like a lot this year. So,
but the guy perfectly captured it's kind of a nice flow. It's perfect that he's longboarding, he's drinking ocean spray. It's like he's having an amazing chill day, and that has this feeling where it's just I am the most relaxed, chill I'll ever be. And so if you want that feeling at your cocktail hour, play that song. That's a great song for that. And especially because you're going to it's an older song, it's from the 70s.
Hitting all those crowds.
Yes. Yeah. And then you're also the young people love it too, because now it's a viral thing. So everyone knows the song now.
Listen to these tracks.
Right? You just immediately have to bounce and dance and go nuts to it.
Yeah, I just break things. I don't know if that's a feeling, but in a fun way, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not like in an angry way.
Yeah, you want to fight, but fight because you're full of life, not because you're full of anger.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, you want to dance.
It's like moshing at a punk show. It's just like
yes.
that similar feeling. Which actually happened. I didn't bring that up. Like 2 weeks ago, I had a wedding, and we were like ending with like pop punk and stuff like that. And like this one guy was just like shoving. It was really funny. And he was like trying to start like a mosh pit. Everyone's like, "No, this is a wedding.
Don't want to get injured. It's not the place. It's not
funny,
the
though.
right mood." Right?
Yeah.
This song is very much like it's about we are getting started with the party right now.
I think I used to have a playlist that was like passed down from other DJs. It was called Bump and Grind.
Yes.
that's that.
I made that playlist originally.
There you go.
This was on there. Yeah.
But that's the feeling for sure. That immediately, I mean, that's like that one always like 98% of the time hits. And I like just hearing the beginning of that song, I can also just hear like, like just, people are like, yes, like
yes.
Finally. That's kind of like, honestly, that's a good song that I feel the turning point of going from like one point in the wedding to like, it is time to party.
Yes.
Like we have been partying, but like,
yeah,
you know what I'm talking about.
And most weddings, you're not going to drop this first song because they haven't been warmed up. They're not juiced up. They're not ready for it. You got to be already raging, and then you drop this song, and it takes it to another level. But this song is like, we are partying now.
Right.
It's undeniable. Like, even no hands. It kind of, we're about to party. We're about to, and we're not going to even have hands when we're doing it. But Usher's, is like, it's happening. The party's happening, and that's why people they have so many fond memories of it because for a lot of people, it's that song that elicits that emotion of it's time to dance hard.
Yeah.
Now, usually I don't do this, but
Go ahead on, break them off with a little previews of the remix. Now I'm not trying to be rude, but hey, pretty
I mean,
girl,
it's
I'm feeling you.
immediately I'm like, it's late. I'm tired, but I still
Right.
want to have a good time. And there's probably another party to go to.
Yes.
The night's not done, but like I'm tired. Like it's a chill, you know.
Had some drinks.
Bounce, bounce, bounce.
We're still like not ready to be done with the night, but like, yeah, totally.
It definitely has that feel to it. Right? The song, it's goofy, it's silly,
It's like, this is one that, you know, got everyone dancing, but it's like, grandma's also singing, you know?
Yeah.
And the younger people are also singing.
Yes.
And, yeah, I mean, it's just like a feel-good song.
it's beach vibes, it's high energy, it's sunlight and water and just the feeling of like, let's get silly. Even his voice is over, you know.
It's just my
at the
opinion.
lodge, you know, it's
It's like, that song is so long.
It is
Really
a very long
I
song.
think it's like almost 6 minutes. But that's one that like I feel like I generally play from start to beginning because it's like it's got the breakdown at the end,
yeah.
and then it's like you have to play the full song. Generally, it's rare that I fade out early that song, but it is a very long song. Yeah,
I don't have any more than that. I don't want to like beat this to death.
that was good though.
But
yeah.
you see the idea of what I'm going for, that
Uh-huh.
you know, certain songs have certain feelings, and sometimes people come up and they request something that it has a very specific feeling, which they're going for, but that's not what anyone else is going for. This would be an example. I mean, it's sweet. It's
Yeah.
romantic. If we were just, you know, doing this, like,
Listen to these tracks.
this is the end of this song.
The only time that I would feel comfortable going from that to what was that, Wonderful Tonight, right?
Yeah, and now we're going,
Only time I would do that is if I literally look out at the crowd
nobody's there.
and
That's when you would,
either that or panting out of breath.
Yeah.
Like, oh my, we need a break. Like we're gonna
Yeah.
die. Like right now.
but
we
even
need a
that,
break.
there's other songs I would do the R. Kelly song before I would do.
right. Still can
Wonderful
keep
Tonight.
the energy high, but
Yeah.
like not.
Keep the mood there, but we don't have to dance as hard. Now we can
Right.
sing, but it still fits the energy. It's at least adjacent energy. The Wonderful Tonight just, I mean, that steel guitar.
For
is,
me, the song that's like
it's a sleepy bar in the 80s is what it feels like to me.
Ignition, I've stepped back on a little bit, but like Buy You a Drink, T-Pain, that one has been just like it's a very similar vibe that like you can groove to it and it's like, yep. That
Yeah.
song has been coming in hot this year for sure.
Yeah.
But
Sorry, I probably played a bit longer then.
no, you're fine. It's a long intro. It's like a
Oh, does
20-second
it?
intro, yeah. I usually skip ahead.
Buy you a drink.
But it's not too much. It's
Yeah.
a pretty slow kind of beat.
And you kind of bounce your body to it.
Yeah.
You know, how you're dancing will indicate a lot about the beat structure, the mood, the feelings that song is eliciting. You know, that's why we have those different responses. But as a DJ, I'm seeing the feelings through line, and I'm okay. We're feeling good. We're feeling good. We're feeling good. We're feeling romantic, and you know, so that's why we don't always play that next. Because we haven't petered out yet. People are still dancing, having fun. People are still accessing those feelings. I don't want to switch that and switch to a romantic soft thing until it feels like the right time yet.
Yes.
And so when people come up like, is it next? Well, probably not. Because that you're requesting something that doesn't match the feelings of what everybody's feeling right now.
That's like it always hurts when someone's like, "Well, what's the order? Like, is 3-4 songs now?" I'm like, I
Where
don't
am
really
I
know
at in
yet.
the queue? Well,
Don't
I don't
really
do
know
a
yet.
queue. Yeah.
I don't know because it's in the moment. It's like,
Yeah.
there's times where I'm like, "Oh, this song's gonna be good," and then a few songs later, I'm like, "Actually, no, I need to do it later or whatever." You know what I mean?
I
It's
don't
like,
have the time to explain to you, nor do you want to hear DJ theory, dance floor theory, music theory. You know, I don't have the time to explain this to you.
right.
That's why we started the podcast.
Yeah.
So, anyways, that does it. I don't have anything else. Do you have anything else?
No, not today.
Guys, thank you as always for listening. I'm Mike.
I'm Chris.
We will see you on the dance floor.
Woohoo.